Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where after yesterday's magnum opus edition of Rat Run, in which I did battle not just with Marty Sears, but with Justin Vitandra as well, on this puzzle. This is an incredible Rat Run. It's called Equivalence. It took me nearly 2 hours to solve it, for which I'm not actually... I'm not appalled with myself. I mean, it's quite a hard puzzle, but it's brilliant. And today, I'm hoping that this won't be quite so long. This has got 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty. It's called Yin Yang Killers. It's by Jonesy. We're getting lots of recommendations, actually, for Jonesy's puzzles. And I want to say I've done about 5 of Jonesy's puzzles on the channel over the last few months. I've always enjoyed them a lot, and apparently this one is excellent. So we'll read the rules together. These lines are some sort of parity thingies. We've got some sort of parity thingy going on. I didn't pay enough attention to the rule. I did skim them before I turned on the webcam, but I didn't pay enough attention to them to really understand them. And then, well, I'll read them to you. We'll read them together properly in a moment or two's time. What else can I mention before we kick off today? Let me just have a quick think. We should be back in the Blueprints Mansion on Monday evening. So if you've been following our journey through that game, that should continue then. On the 1st of April, we have a brand new competition coming, which is Sandra&Nala's Sudoku Hunt, Fog of War themed. So I know that will be popular. That will appear at 4 p.m. UK time on the 1st of April. And I can tell you that Merrill, who won this month's competition, is keen to make a video. So I must get on to Mark about that to pick a puzzle for us. So hopefully there'll be a new viewer solve video at some point soon. And I've got birthdays to do today. Let me look at my list. Quite a few birthdays. What's the date? The 26th. It's quite intriguing the way some days there are almost none, and then other days there are definitely more. Tori, you turned 27 today, and I know this because your partner Jessie wrote to me and said that I think that both of you watch of an afternoon. So thank you both for watching. Tori, I hope you have a great birthday today. I hope the chocolate cake is very well iced and excellent, of course. Next, Anna. Anna, you've turned 28 today, and I know this because your boyfriend Chris wrote to me describing you as being the most wonderful person. And you've even got on board and not got bored with watching Cracking the Cryptic every evening. So Anna, thank you for being so understanding. Thank you for getting into these wonderful puzzles that we've all grown to love. And I hope you have a great birthday with chocolate cake, of course. Next, is it Definka? I hope I'm saying that correctly. I think you're also known as Lanty. God, I really hope I'm not butchering the pronunciation. Definka has turned 29, so we've had a 27, a 28, and now a 29 today. Your partner Payne wrote to me to say, "Could we wish you happy birthday? I think you're in Sofia in Bulgaria, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm told you love puzzles and you love chocolate. What more? What more could any person want in life?" I hope you have a great birthday, and I hope the chocolate cake that you get is very well iced, of course. Next, we'll go to Josh, who isn't 30, but Josh is 31 today. So we've had a 27, a 28, a 29, and a 31. Josh is 31 in Calgary in Canada, and I know this because your wife Maddie wrote to me. And she also mentioned that she was meant to request a shout out on your 30th birthday, Josh, which would have been perfect in terms of the sequence today, but she forgot. And I think you've let her know. You've let her know once or twice that she should have remembered. But I think Josh, I think you watch every night. I'm not sure whether Maddie watches as well, but Josh, thank you so much for watching, and happy 31st birthday. Hope the chocolate cake is good, obviously. Then we'll go to New Zealand, from Canada to New Zealand, to say a very happy birthday to Nicholas, who's turning 27 today. You might not get this until the day after your birthday, given the time difference. But Nicholas was recommended Cracking the Cryptic because he's a fan of chess, and I think was watching chess videos, and Cracking the Cryptic videos then got recommended. So I'm quite pleased that we're in the same YouTube bracket as chess. I enjoy quite a lot of chess videos too. And Nicholas apparently finds the CTC videos relaxing. I hope you're not somebody... Well, no, I don't mind if people fall asleep to them. It just makes me feel bad that I'm not entertaining enough. Anyway, next we'll go to Peter. Peter, you've turned 47 today. And Peter, you're the father of Elliot. I remember Elliot. I think I did a shout out for Elliot, who I want to say became a teenager a few days ago, and had an amazing... Elliot's very good at maths, I think, and already a qualified scuba diver or something. But Peter, it's your birthday today. And I know you're a big fan of chocolate cake, so I hope you get a great chocolate cake. Many happy returns on your 47th birthday. And that's all the birthdays. So let's have a look at Yin Yang Killers by Jonesy. The rule set here begins with hello. Hello. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So we're going to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Colour the grid using 2 colours such that each colour forms a single orthogonally connected region, and no 2x2 block of cells is entirely one colour. So my patented example of a possible yin-yang shading would be this one. Let me just complete it, and we can talk about why it's correct. So this would be a possible shading of the grid. Why? Well, look at the indigo. You can trace through the entire area of indigo by moving between indigo cells that share edges with one another. And no 2x2 area of the grid is entirely indigo. So perfect. Now if we were to add this cell to indigo, this now doesn't meet the criteria because these 2 indigo cells do not share an edge. They only meet at a vertex. That is not sufficient for orthogonal connection. And you can see the green area obeys exactly the same rule. You can trace through the entire green area by moving through other green cells that share an edge. And no 2x2 area is entirely green. So that is what we have to do in this puzzle, but there are more rules. We have got the digits along each line sum to the same total. So whatever that sums to, that sums to, that sums to, that sums to, etc. And along each line, the yin-yang colouring separates odd and even digits. That is, all odd digits on a line are one colour and all even digits are the other colour. So that's a really weird sort of rinky-dink on the basic yin-yang rule set. And digits separated by a white dot are consecutive, so those 2 cells are consecutive. And then the final part of the instructions is that we have to have fun, so we must obey that. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So I think I'm going to ignore yin-yang shading. Oh no, should I talk about some of the secrets of yin-yang? Maybe I should actually. Let's just talk about the secrets of yin-yang quickly. Because there are 2. There are 2 that I know anyway. I think there are probably more, but some of them are very, very sophisticated and slightly arcane and recherche. But the most basic yin-yang secret I know is that there cannot be a checkerboard pattern in the puzzle of yin-yang. Now, why is that? Now, it's because of this requirement that we have to make every colour meet or into an orthogonally connected area. Now you can see to connect the purple area together, whatever route we took to do that, let's take a relatively simple route. We've now achieved orthogonal connectivity of the purple region. How could we do the same for the green region? We couldn't. This green has been sort of encapsulated in a pool of purple, a fate worse than death. So no matter how you try to get out of it, you will have a problem if any 2x2 area contains a checkerboard. Now this allows us to extrapolate a principle that applies to the perimeter in a yin-yang puzzle. Now, a yin-yang puzzle can have an entirely monochrome perimeter. That is fine. This doesn't disobey the rules. You could even introduce a slice of the other colour into the perimeter and have the colour sort of bichromatic. But if you were to now try and introduce another stretch of green, say over here, you instantly break the puzzle. And that is because we could view this perimeter now as sort of an exploded checkerboard, by which I mean, remember that we have to connect these purples to these purples somehow. And you can see that however we do that, we will create in effect a wall of purple in the grid, and then we won't be able to connect this green to this green. So in a yin-yang puzzle, you can either have the perimeter being entirely one colour, or you can introduce a section of the other colour, but only one section. This would be, I mean, we could extend this section, obviously, but you can only have two contiguous streaks of colour in the perimeter of a yin-yang. But having said all that, I don't want to start with that because that feels complicated. What I want to start with is the fact that every one of these lines sums to the same value. And I can tell you from looking at the grid for a moment that that value is either 15, 16 or 17. How do I know that? Well, what I'm looking at is the sort of juxtaposition of these two cells, the maximum value of which could be 17 if they were an 8-9 pair, and these 5 cells, the minimum value of which, if they were absolutely as little as we could make them, would be, well, they would sum to 15 if they were 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we know that every one of these lines sums to a minimum of 15 but a maximum of 17. So it is 15, 16 or 17. Now, right, okay, so now is the time. Now is the winter of our discontent. No, now is the spring of our content, because we can now say something, I think, relatively intelligent about this line and use our yin-yang principles. Because we have just said that it is impossible for this line to add up to more than 17. So what I want to ask is, could this line be monochromatic? So could it just be one colour in the yin-yang? Now, if it was just one colour in the yin-yang, we would be effectively being told, just want to check, I don't have to include by rule different parities along a line, do I? Along each line, the yin-yang colouring separates odd and even digits. Yeah, no, it doesn't. So I think you can, in theory at least, we could have had a monochromatic line like this. But it won't work, will it? Because let's think about how many odd and even digits there are in Sudoku. Now, there are only 4 even digits, so it's quite impossible for this line to be filled with only even digits, because there should be 5 of them. There are 5 odd digits, 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9, but the sum of those odd digits is 25. 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 is 25. Yeah, I don't really know. I know that from all the puzzles I've done in the past. But clearly, so if this was monochromatic, it would be a 25 sum. But we know this can't add to 25, so this is not monochromatic. And there is a break in the perimeter colouring here. So amongst those 5 cells, there is a change in the colour in the perimeter. But the same logic must apply here, mustn't it? So amongst these cells, there is a change in the colour of the perimeter. And that means that because what we can't do is something like this, why would this be wrong? Well, because if we now consider the perimeter as a whole, how many changes of colour have we got? Loads. It starts green, it goes purple, it returns to green, and then it goes back to purple again. So if we connected these purples to these purples, we wouldn't be able, however we did it, we would create a wall of purple and we couldn't connect the greens orthogonally. So instead, what we know is that this side of the line, I'm going to make it purple, that's completely an arbitrary choice, and this side of the line, we know they're different colours, and we know this side of the line must also be purple, and this side must also be green. So, because if we did it the other way round, we'd get this checkerboard problem. But now remember, in the perimeter, we have to connect. There's only two contiguous strings of colour, maximum. So that must be entirely purple. This must be entirely green. Yeah, okay, and that's beautiful, because now, yeah, this is beautiful. So now let's look at this domino. Now, what do we know about this domino? I don't know what parity purple is, but I know that those two have the same parity. So whether that's odd or it's even, if you add two of them together, they're going to add to an even number. And we know that we're looking for a number that's at least 15. Well, 15 isn't even, 16 is even, and 17 is not even. So this must be a 16. It must be. And purple is odd, and this line is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, because that's the only way of making 5 different Sudoku numbers add up to 16. This line must be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. And every line in the puzzle adds up to 16. Now, we mustn't have 2 by 2s either. So this is going to be green, this is going to be green, that's going to be purple, that's going to be purple. And now, so how do we do this then? Hang on, now this is adding to an odd number. Wait, hang on, what have I done wrong here? I've done something wrong. Because purple is odd, I've just proved. But if that's odd, and those two are even, this line will add up to an odd number. Hang on, I don't understand what I've done wrong. I'm so sorry, I've done something wrong and I don't understand what it is. Let me just check the instructions. Along each line, the yin-yang colouring separates odd and even digits. Oh, that's vicious. That is vicious. Right. Wow. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Right. So I've just, well, if you read the instructions a bit more carefully than I did before, what the instructions say, the instructions don't say that all odd digits in the puzzle are, for example, purple. What they say is along a line, along any particular line, the yin-yang shading will be consistent, or it will split the line by parity. So this line here, actually this is going to be an even digit, and these are going to be odd digits in order for the line to add up to 16. I just want to give a moment's thought, though, to whether or not anything I've done up to this point is susceptible to my misunderstanding of how the rule worked. I don't think it is. I think it's true to say there had to be a break in the colour there. It's true to say there had to be a break in the colour there. That forced this to be the same colour. That forced those to be the same parity. That forces the total to be 16. But this colouring is forced by the yin-yang. But then when we look at this line, we say, okay, I've got one of one parity and two of the other parity. So if purple was odd, then once you add two even digits to it, you couldn't make the total of the line add to 16. So on this line, purple is even. Good grief. I mean, it's quite clear. It's not Jonesy's fault. I just didn't see that at all. Now hang on a moment. What do we have to place in the top row? 5, 7, 8, 9. And these have the same parity and they're both odd. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, well, it means that... it means we get 8 in the top row. Because there's like a 5, 7, 9 triple, so this is an 8. Although that's not on a line, so we can't really make the most of that. Now, this can't be a 9-7 pair. For two reasons. Firstly, that would break this cell. Secondly, it would already add up to 16. So it's either 9 and 5, which would be 14, and this would be a 2. Or it's 7 and 5, and that would be a 4. So this is 2 or 4. Yeah, okay, and let's look at this line, and presumably the corollary, which is this line, although the colours might be the wrong way round, mightn't they? Because we know that if we think about the panoply or the selection or the ambit of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6, there are 3 even digits in that selection and 2 odd digits. So given that it must be a contiguous string of odd and even digits, we know this must be purple. I don't know whether it's odd or even. And we know this must be green. And we know this must be even. But I don't know which way round it goes, which is a bit distressing. And the same is going to be true here. So this must be even. That's going to have to be purple. That's going to have to be green. But we won't know what this is until we know on this line whether green is even or odd. But we can presumably... Oh, no, we can't. I was going to say we can colour that, but we can't. Because I don't know which on... By reference to this line, I don't know whether green is odd or even. So I can't tell whether that's... I mean, I know the line is going to be split into 2 odds and 1 even. But until I know for that line which colour is which, I won't be able to do the colouring. Oh, hang on, right, what about that line? That line can't be odd parity. It's all 1 parity, but if it was odd, 3 odd numbers add up to an odd number. So this is 3 even numbers. Now the 4 even numbers in Sudoku add up to 20. 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 is 20. So I need to miss out one of those numbers to arrive at the number 16. So I'm going to miss out 4, and that's going to be a 2, 6, 8 triple. Okay. Doesn't seem to be... I don't seem to be able to do anything with that. Okay. So there is going to have to be a 4 on this line, isn't there? Because if there wasn't, this would be a 3 odd digits again, and it wouldn't add up to 16. So it needs to have 1 even digit and 2 odd digits. It doesn't allow us to colour it at all, but it does mean that this is a 2. And it means that these are 5 and 9, so they don't include 7. So this is a 7 in the corner. This is a 9. 9 is in one of these 3 cells. Maybe we could use the secret on this box. I don't know whether we need to, but I like sharing the secret of Sudoku. So why don't we talk about that? It's a secret I share with only my very favourite people. But if you're watching this video, of course you're one of my favourite people. So let's talk about it. This whole box must sum to the secret of Sudoku, which is 45. Now, why do I know the box sums to 45? Well, it's because of the rules. The rules tell us that that box contains the digits 1 to 9 once each. The digits 1 to 9 sum to 45. So here I've got 24, 7, 8, 9 sum to 24. Here we've got 16 because all the lines sum to the same. So those 7 cells sum to 40, which means these two cells sum to 5. So that's not a 6. And this is a 1, 2, 3, or 4. That isn't a 2. Okay, that's really underwhelming, isn't it? That's really not. That is not the height of splendor, what I've managed to achieve there. Oh, goodness. Okay, so I'm going to have to think harder, but I don't know where to look exactly. There's a 2 in one of those 3 by Sudoku. What about this line? That's got 3 of the same parity. So if these were odd, they would be a 1, 3, 5. They would add up to 9, wouldn't they? And then this would have to be odd. But if these were even, that doesn't work. Yeah, okay, that's clever actually. So let's look at this L. Now, if these 3 digits were even, for the parity to work, this would have to also be even. Because if it was odd, the line total would be odd, and 16 isn't odd. So we'd be adding all 4 of the even digits. These can't repeat, can they? They're all in the same box, and we know they add up to 20, so that's impossible. So this has to be odd, which means that this is also odd, and on the line, that does allow me to colour it, because they all have to have the same colour, therefore. And this digit is a 7, in order to ensure that the count... Now, this is now... Whoops, no. That's even. And what do we say? Those two added up to 5. So, right, that's good. Because if that is good. Because 5 is an odd number. So in a sum, we're going to be adding an even to an odd. So on this line, purple is odd, which means these are the 2 odd numbers. This is even. These are 2, 4, and 6. These are 1 and 3. Okay, I don't know how to do that. Oh, we can do yin-yang. Look, we've got to avoid a 2 by 2 there, so that's green, avoid a 2 by 2. I have a lot of difficulty thinking that this cell can be purple. I think it's similar to this one, which I've just sort of learnt about. If you have 3 of one parity and 1 of the other, the line total will always be odd, won't it? Because if you're adding 3 odd numbers together, you're going to get an odd number. Once you add the even digit, it keeps its parity, so it's still odd total. That doesn't work. And if you've got 3 evens and you add an odd to it, you're still on odd. So that's definitely green, even though we don't know what green and purple are by dint of parity. Now, here's an interesting point. We've got our first checkerboard avoidance. This is now purple to avoid a 2 by 2, and to avoid a checkerboard there, that is therefore purple. And this green here is it's in danger of being cul-de-saced into Lake of green. If this was purple, it would be cul-de-sac, so it must be green and get out. Now, what do we do with that then? 8 is in one of those 3 by Sudoku. 7 is in one of those 2 by Sudoku. 8 is in one of these 3 by Sudoku. In fact, hang on. I've had all the odd digits in this column. So let's abandon that. We should be able to do this much more straightforwardly. These digits are 2, 4, 6, and 8, which means these are even. So these are odd. And these are, I'm just going to put all the options in. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That can't be 7. Now, how are we going to make this work? We've got a 2 or a 4 here, so we have got 6 and 8 down here. Well, they can't go on the line together, because that would be 14. These two would have to add up to only 2. So this digit is definitely a 6 or an 8, and one of 6 and 8 is on the line, which means the minimum total for these two digits is 6 plus 2, which is 8. So the maximum total for these is 8, and they don't include 9, therefore. Now, can we do anything with that? Possibly. I don't know, actually. These two are both odd. I don't know if I know how this line works. That could still be even, couldn't it? We've still got one more even digit left to place in box 3. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. So this line is 2 of one colour and 1 of the other. No, that's a shame. If you knew that the 2 colours were green, you'd have to separate them. What about this line? Not sure. Okay, so I'm getting a bit stuck now. What do we think? Where do we think the place to look is? I haven't got a clue, actually. Oh, wait. This line has got 2, 4, and 6 on it, hasn't it? So that's an 8 in the corner. Aha. 8, 6. So this, hang on, that's gonna impede on these two a little bit, because now the minimum total for these is 10. So we can't have a 7 on the line. That's going to be good. That's going to get me another digit here. So if these were 10, these would be 5 and 1. If these are 12, these would be 1 and 3. So they always include a 1. And therefore this is not a 1 or a 6. And in fact, because this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 quintuple, and that's an 8, the other digits we've got left to place in the row are 5, 7, and 9, aren't they? And that's going to tell us something about this line, but let's just check this cell. That can't be 7. Oh, it nearly can't be 5. So those, so 9, okay, 9 in this box is in one of those two cells, which means 9 is in one of these 3. But surely it's this one that's the important one, because this line, now we've established green is odd. Now we can't only have one odd number on this string, so that's also going to be a green odd. Now this is a purple cul-de-sac, so let's get the purple cul-de-sac out. This digit is even. It's not 2 actually. This is odd, but not 7. I mean, there's still a lot of options, but probably we are going to have to sort of keep track of most of them. Now, does that help us to know anything about anything? Yes, it does. It does actually, believe it or not. Because this is really well set, this. Let's look at column 8 now. Because if we think about this line, we know it's got exactly one even digit on it, because all the other even digits have been hypothecated to column 9 in box 6. So there's one even here, which means there's two odds on this line. That's an odd digit in the column, and these two are odd digits in the column. So that's all the odd digits. There are only 5, aren't there? So this is even. Oh, I thought I was going to know its colour, but I've realised I don't. Because I don't. Well, hang on. If that's even, this is a 3-cell line. Yeah, that's okay. Oh, yeah, you've got to be so careful with this. Right. But what we can't have is this being all evens, because then there would be 5 evens in box 3. So we know that this is a 3-cell line. It can't have 2 evens on it, because if it did, the third digit would be odd and would make the parity of the line wrong. So there is exactly one even on this line, which means that it must be the opposite colour to that. That's green, and these are both odd. And they are, they're 1 3s or 7s, because we've got a 5 9 pair here. Which probably means this can't be a 4, because these couldn't add up to 12. They can add up to 10 if this is 6, and they can add up to 8 if this is 8. Which, okay, so that's something. But is it enough? Okay, there's a 4 on this line, so this digit is 6 or 8. Okay, this digit is quite big, so that can't be 9. 9 plus 6 plus 5 is too many. Can that even be 5? 5 plus 7 plus 6 is too big as well. So this is 1 or 3. Yeah, 3 plus 5 plus 8 does work. So, okay. 4 is in one of these cells. I've got a horrible feeling this is all going to be about Sudoku at some point, and I'm not going to spot how to take it forward. That digit is in one of those 3 cells. Is it? It might be possible that's all one. No, I was about to use that this was even to say that's even. You can't do that, Simon. You've got to be so careful with this. Right, where do you think we look next? Is there some yin-yang to do somehow? I can see one of those at least needs to be purple. Otherwise we'd have a green 2x2. This column, is that something I can say that's sensible in that column? I don't think there is, but again, I might be wrong. Or is there? Surely there's a way. We know what this bottom line is in terms of parity allocation. So on one side of this line is a 1-3 pair, and that could be here. If it was, no, it could be there. And it could be there. It looks a little less likely in terms of uniqueness, but actually there isn't a uniqueness problem across those boundaries. So, or maybe, what about the breakdown of this line then, this horseshoe thing? That's got to have 2 of each parity on it, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Because, and it can't be checkerboarded. Yeah, that's a very marginal point we can make about that. Because if we think about the digits we've already identified, we've got 3 odds and 2 evens. So there are 2 evens and 2 odds left from a box perspective. Now, if we had a green here, therefore, these 2 would be purple, and that would be checkerboarded, so that has to be purple. That doesn't help. I really don't think it does. Oh, I've got something. Yeah, I've got something. This digit, by dint of Sudoku, it sees... Why does it see 9? Oh, because it sees 9 from box 7. That is correct, yeah. These 2 digits can't be odd. They see 7, 9, and 135. So they're both even, and therefore they're both the same colour. And then this can't be odd, because the parity of the line would be incorrect. So that's also green, and therefore this is purple by dint of not making a 2 by 2. And these 3 that's not 9, therefore. So this line is 3 even digits that add up to 16. So again, it's like a line over there. We're missing out the 4. So this is 2... Oh, we can put the 8 in, because it is 268. Now, please do something. I mean, it gets rid of 8 from these cells. It means these 2 cells, in fact, therefore, whoopsie, are a 4-9 pair, doesn't it? Which means that that is not a 4. Oh, it's nearly good. What does this 2-6 thing do? Anything? No. It means one of those is a 6. Really? Could we not do more? I don't know, actually. I might not be able to. That's extraordinary. 2, that's it, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. I was about to say 2 had to be there. But 2 could go there. Oh, no. Bobbins. Okay, so that's no use. I know that this digit... No, I don't know. I don't think I do know. Good grief. Well, it must be something to do with... Oh, look, I've got a 2-6 pair now in row 5 and an 8. So there must be at least one odd digit here. They could both be odd, couldn't they? That would be fine. In fact, this whole line could be odd. That is not precluded. Just miss 9 out from it, it would work. Right, so let's take another stare and try and spot something else. But, 7 is in this domino, isn't it? By Sudoku. So 7 in row 8 is in one of only 3 places. Maybe there's a yin-yang point we could do. It's interesting to note that if this is purple, you'd have to avoid a checkerboard on all sides. So all 3 of those would become purple. And this line would be entirely purple, which would... that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That's actually, I think... That's so beautiful. I think that is the next... You know, when you find logic and you just think that can't be there by accident. That's an example of that. Right, so I want to look expressly at this cell and consider whether it could be purple. Now, note from a yin-yang perspective, this is now purple to avoid a checkerboard, and this is purple to avoid a checkerboard. But the crucial thing is that this line becomes monochrome. Now, what do we know about a monochrome line that adds to 16? It must only contain even digits. But what are the oh, hang on, we could have a repeat. I didn't think of that. Oh, I was thinking it. Oh no. Well, now this could be correct. Because I was thinking if it had to be 3 different digits, we know it's 268. And that couldn't be a 4, therefore. But actually, if this is a 4, and those add up to 12, using even digits, which couldn't use 6, therefore, or 2, so they would be a 4-8 pair. So it would be 4, 4, 8. So this would be an 8, and this would be a 4, and that would be a 9. Oh no, you're kidding me. Well, that's distressed me no end, because I think that's possible. Wow, okay, sorry. I thought I'd spotted something really glorious there, but I overlooked something. I can't. I know that's one of each parity, but I mean, the colouring of the parity is so peculiar in this that you can't really rely on it in the way that you expect to. Right, let's try and find something else then. Where is... No, that doesn't work. If I knew what this digit was, I could do the whole of this line. So maybe that's something. There's some reason maybe that's got to be a 3. Why would that be? In fact, if that's a 2, because that's a 2, that would be a 3. So 2, 3, this would be 2, 4, 6, this would be 1, 3, that would be 1, 3. Or is it something to do with 4? 4 in this box has to be in one of those 3 cells. I don't think we know which one. Oh, hang on, what are you talking about? There isn't a 4 on that line. That's nonsense. That's absolute rubbish. For some reason, I was thinking about even digits, and I was assuming there was a 4 on that line. Okay, so we've got to come up with something different. Where shall we go for that? Is there... What do we know about this one? It's 2 of one colour and 1 of the other. So it's either double green purple or double purple green. And is there... Oh, hang on. That one. I didn't see that. That's a 2 by 2. I've got to avoid it. It's probably not going to matter, actually, but that is a purple, just to avoid this being a 2 by 2. So, but that is useful. Good grief. Right. Because what would happen if this was 4? Then these two would be odd and the opposite colour, and they'd both be green, and that would be a 2 by 2. So that is not 4, which means one of these is 4, and therefore the opposite colour to this, which must be odd. So this is 1, 3, 5, 7 or 9. It's not 7 by dint of this. And one of these is green and one of them is purple. Now, which would be either? Actually, either would be quite useful to know. If this is green, that is purple for a variety of reasons. Or does it matter that 4's been pushed up here? Is that for some reason? Or does it matter this is odd? I don't think it does. And if this was green, if this is green, all sorts of things happen because you've got to avoid a checkerboard there. And that would make this into a... Oh, that would do lots. If that, for some reason, if that is a 4, that would be very powerful. Ah, hang on. Can I go back here now? Oh, yes, I can. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go back here for this line. And remember that if this was purple, it becomes a monochrome line, which means it's all even. This has to be 4. These have to add up to 12. This would be 4 and this would be 8. I'd use 2 4s in those cells and you couldn't put 4 on that one. So that's impossible. So this digit, I don't know if it's going to matter, but that digit is therefore green. And it's the opposite parity to that. But that's extraordinary. I don't learn anything from that. I don't learn anything. Because until I know what that is, I can't... Okay, let's imagine that's 9. Then that is 4. And that's 4. Oh, that's terrible then. Yeah, if that's 9, because this is even and it sees all the even digits apart from 4, it would be a 4. So 9 plus 4 is 13, and this would be a 3, and it would be purple. And then that would be a 3. And this couldn't have 3 on it, so this would be 1, 3, and this would be a 2. And in the alternative scenario, this is a 4. This is odd then. So this would be odd. This would be a pair of digits that have to be odd and add up to 12. Oh, well, that could be done either way, couldn't it? It could be 3, 9 or 5, 7. But then this would be a 4, so that would be green. This would be purple and be odd. Wow, I don't know. That also seems remarkably plausible. Jeepers, okay. So, it's okay. I'm now moderately convinced that it's probably Sudoku that is the missing piece of this. 2, there's a 2 in one of those cells, which means there's a 2 in one of these 3. Do we? I don't think we mind, actually. Whatever version of 5 this is, there's another version of 5 adding on this line, plus 2 digits which are going to be 5 and 6. There is definitely a 5 in these 3 cells, but I don't think we know. I don't think we know at all which one the 5 is. Okay. There is a 1 in one of these 2 cells. I remember we were thinking about that earlier, weren't we? We worked out this was either a 1-3 pair or it's a 1-5 pair. Now if it's 1-3, this is 2. And that's 4. And that makes the maths work, so that's entirely sensible. Yeah, I think that is sensible. Or is it a problem with this being a 9 or a 5? If this was 7, 9 over here? Don't know. Or is it... I really don't know where to look here. Somewhere there is going to be a little bit of a deduction that we can do, and I'm just going to have to stare at it. Maybe this is going to be longer than yesterday's. Gosh, it's coming up for an hour, isn't it? And I'm very much not finished, and I am stuck, which is not a good thing. Okay, come on. Where do we think we look? Okay, maybe I can pencil mark. Because I know there's an even digit here. These are all odd digits. I don't know what colour they are, but I'm just going to label them as odd, because now I've got 4 odds in this column. And I know that's odd. And it's not 7. So can I do something there? Maybe it's this line. Or maybe... yeah, that's it. That's useful. Right, let's look at column 7. Because... yeah, this is it. This is it. Right, this column, I've got 4 odds there. Now, is it possible there's no odd in this domino here? The answer is, of course, no, because if these were both even, once we add an odd digit to them, that line's parity is wrong, doesn't add to 16. So one of these is odd, which means that these 6 cells contain all the odd digits of column 7. Now that means this digit is even, actually. So this is even, and these ones are both odd now. So that's a 3, that's a 1. Oh, I thought I was going to do more. That's 1 and 3 at the top. These two added up to 5, didn't they? So that's 4 and that's 2. These have to add up to 6. So they are a 1-5 pair. Oh, which makes this a 9. That's good. That's good. So that's a 4 by Sudoku, of all things. Now this 9 means we get a 5-7 pair over here. The other thing is, that this digit is even. I don't know what colour it is, but it is even. Because we know we've got 5 odd digits in those 6 cells, so that's definitely even. So this is now definitely odd. And that's 1, 3, or 7. But what were the options on this line? These 2 digits are either adding up to 8 or 10, aren't they? So they always use the 7. So this digit is not 7, and this is 1 or 3. But, okay, I don't know what this means, but I do feel like we've just made a bit of progress there. Yeah, let's look at this column, where I think it seems we've got all the even digits used, which tells us that green here, well, it tells us these are the same parity, therefore they're the same colour, and they must both be odd, which means this is purple and these are both even. Now let's see what that does. So if these are both even, then they're not 4 and 8, they are 2 and 6, and I know the order. 2 and 6. So this is not, whoops, that's not 6. Oh, bobbins. I thought it was going to be much better. Okay, and these digits are 3 and 5 then. Which does tell us this is 5, tells us this is 1. And hopefully, this is now green. Oh, that's quite good. This is green to avoid a 2 by 2. And now we have to avoid a checkerboard here. So this is green. Now we have to avoid a 2 by 2 here. So this is purple. Now, oh, this all looks very cluttered, doesn't it? Can that be purple? I think it could be purple or green, actually, bizarrely. Okay, that's fine, though. That's fine. We're still in the game. Nah, bobbins. I don't see how to take that further forward. If these were both even, this would be even as well. Is that a problem? If that would be all evens. So 8 would be on here, which would mean this was 4. So again, this would be the 4-8 thing that we had going on, but that doesn't work. Oh, that's quite tricky, but I think it's right. Let's go through that again. Let's just recapitulate and make sure that we're not talking total nonsense. So what I'm thinking about, I can see this is even. So imagine it was purple. Then we would know this was even. 2 evens. So we'd have to add a third even, wouldn't we, to make it the parity of the line work. So these would all 3 be purple. Now we've got the task of making these 3 digits sum to 16. But in this box, all 4 of these digits are all 4 evens now. And we haven't used 8 up here. So one of these is 8, which means the other 2 digits have to sum to 8. So they couldn't include 8. They'd have to be double 4. But they can't be double 4 because the double 4 would have to be disposed like that to avoid a Sudoku problem. But that's going to be a problem. So that means... all of that means that this digit simply cannot be purple. It must be green. And therefore this is odd. And it's cul-de-sac, so it's got to get out. So these are 2 odds, which makes total sense from a parity perspective. And they're from 1, 5, 7, and 9. That can't be 9. Well, we worked out 7 was on there, didn't we? So this one can't be 7. I feel like that must be useful somehow, isn't it? Surely that's done something. I don't know. And we've got the same oh, that's even. Ah, hang on, that's even. So that's green. So this is green to avoid a checkerboard. That's now purple to avoid a 2 by 2. Okay. Well, we know this can't all be even digits because we've already used 2 even digits here. So we know that's got some odd digits on it. So it's got 2 odd digits on it, which either means... yeah, I think we can do some work with this. So this has got 2 odd digits on it. Now, if this was even, that would be double green then. That's remarkably possible. And if this was odd, we'd have to avoid a checkerboard. And this would be 1 of each colour. So if this was odd, you couldn't have odd here. You'd have to have odd here. And this would be green. So maybe this is always green. That's incredibly complicated. I'm gonna think that through. I think I better think it out again. We're reviewing the situation. But it's wrong to be a rogue in every way. So, job I'm getting possibly. I wonder who my boss will be. I wonder if he'll take to me, what bonuses he'll make to me. I'll start at 8 and finish late at overtime and overrate. I think I better think it out again. Ah, come on. You've got to think it out again. Don't be lazy, Simon. Right. So, let's go. We've worked out that line has 2 colours on it. It's got 2 odd digits. So if this is even, those are both green. If this is odd, these are 1 of each, but we can't checkerboard it, so we couldn't have purple here, which means this is always green. That does feel right. So that's purple to avoid a 2 by 2. Now here, that's got to be green to avoid a 2 by 2. Now this has got to avoid a checkerboard, so that's green. Now I've got to avoid a 2 by 2, that's been really helpful, actually. That did some things here that were not expected. And now, well, okay, let's have a look at this line. This is a 4-cell line that definitely has 2 parities on it. So it must have an even number of odd digits on it, which means it has 2 odd digits on it and 2 even digits on it, which means that is purple irrespective of which is which. Now, oh, I can't use the dot, can I? I want to say that's green because it's the opposite parity to this by white dot logic. But of course, I think once you're off lines, you can have any colour you want. Oh, good grief. Okay. So, but this is good. No. Now we can go to row 5, where these two have to be odd. If these were both even, they could only be the digit 4. Right, that's great. So these are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And these are even now, which, I mean, you'd think it would actually do something. That's 3 evens in the row, possibly 4 if that's even. This, hang on. By parity, this is even. Even though I don't know its colour, it's definitely even. I'm going to definitely use that, because now I've got all the evens in the row, and that is now odd. So that's even, which means this is odd, and is 3, no, it's not 3, it's 5, 7, or 9. Now we now know this is odd, so it is green. Okay, and that's also 5. Oh, it's 5, 7, or 9. So these two have to add up to 12. Yeah, that's lovely. So this is 5, 7. These are not 5, 7. This is not 7 anymore. It's a brilliant puzzle, this. Isn't it brilliant? I think it's brilliant. Okay. Have we had 9? One of these is a 4. This can't be 6, because it can't be consecutive with 1, 3, or 9. Oh, hang on, I didn't see this here. I've cul-de-saced some purplage, so that's purple. Now how many oh, I can't have 3 purples on that line, so that's green. This purple has to get out. This purple has to get out. That's presumably useful somehow. I've got 2 purples on this line, and I know that's odd. So I know this is odd as well, and this is 3, 7, or 9. So this must be even and must be the opposite colour. So this section is a purple lake. Let's get the purple lake out. It gives me 2 bits of colouring. This is now green to avoid a 2 by 2. This is a checkerboard opportunity, so that's got to be purple. This is a 2 by 2 opportunity. That's going to be green. I've done the colouring, because now, look at that. If I double click the purples, they're not connected. So I can connect them by that. And there we go. We've done the colouring. I don't know how you... Well, now it's useful to look at this line, isn't it? Well, and this cell. That's even, and is 2 or 8. Okay, that's underwhelming. Okay, but this line, it must have 2 odd digits on it. So these are odd. I'm just going to fill in all the options. Forgive me for that. That's not 7. This isn't 1 or 5. Now, how many odds? I've got lots of odds in that column. As many odds as you can shake a stick at, i.e. 5. So this is a 2, 6, or an 8. That's even. 1. Do I know what... I know where the 4 goes, don't I, on that line? This is an odd digit. So these two have to add up to 12, so they don't involve a 1. And they're either... Oh, they can't be 5, 7, because of that beautiful cell down here. That would break, wouldn't it? So they've got to be 3, 9, which means that's a 5. This is a 9, which means that's a 5. Whoopsie, that's a 5, and that's a 7. So these two digits add up to 9, and they can do that in... Oh, no, they can't now, because this is 3, 9, so it's got to be a 1, 8 pair, which makes that a 6, and that a 4, and therefore this an 8. So these digits definitely don't include 9. In fact, they can't involve 3. Yeah, they can't involve 3, so they have to be 1, 7, and I can see the order. So these digits now, that works. 3 and 7 work. This isn't a 7 anymore by Sudoku. This is a 2 by Sudoku, so these two digits have to add up to 14, so they've got to be a 9, 5 pair now. Therefore, this is no longer a 9. It's possible, actually, I probably shouldn't say this, but it is possible that, you know, having done the shading, will now be in really good shape. That's a 6 at the bottom of the grid. So this is a 2, 4 pair. These digits here are 4 and 3, which I can do I know the order of those by Sudoku using this 4. So this is 3 and this is 7. This digit is definitely not 1 or 3. And so this is 5 or 9, because we know this is meant to be even, and it has to be 8. So this can't be 9. So that's got to be 5, that's got to be 3, that's got to be 7. Now, let's pause. This is no longer a 3, look. So this is no longer a 4. And can we do better than that? Probably. Where's 4 in this column? Is that really true? It does seem to be true. I think it's got to be at the bottom. So that's 4, that's 2. That means this is 2, this is 6. This is now 8, so this is 9. That's quite surprising on the 4-cell line. Oh, these are... Oh, have I broke? No, it's okay. This has to be 1 then. So this can be a 2, 4 pair. It's the only way it'll work. So that's 2, that's 4. This is 9, apparently, just using that old friend Sudoku. That's a 6. That's a 9 by pencil marking. 4, 5, 8. This is a naked single. This is a naked single. This is a naked single. Now this is a naked. Yeah, they're all becoming naked. Come on. This is an 8 now. This is a 6. This is a 2. This is not a 1. This is not a 1 either. This is a 3. 3, 9. We've not put 1 in that row. I think I've done it. I mean, assuming the Sudoku hasn't got a catastrophic error in it, I think we're there. That's going to be a 3. So 3, 5, 5, 7, 1, 7. It could be correct, yes. Brilliant. That is a brilliant puzzle. I found that much harder, actually, than perhaps it's... I think that would be 4 stars is how I would rate it. How long does it take me? Yeah, 1 hour and 15. Did not fly through that at all. And the logic's fantastic. It's the use of parity and the way that you have to think about the lines is really quite beautiful. Great puzzle, Jonesy. Great puzzle. Let me know in the comments how you got on with it. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.